like $300 Canadian a month. It's like, oh my Christ. I could have 2 Polish employees, almost. Almost. This too blurry and made your eyes go funny? Recommendation. Go to settings. Turn particles off. Turn shadows down to some. And then there's another menu, which you can't actually see here, where you can adjust the coloration of things and make the colors less tense. That would be my advice. You try this game. Because it does make it easier on the eyes. There are some like effects that this game has that are like kind of harsh, but it is possible to just kind of shut them off to a degree. Like I find like the rain effect is a bit intense if you have particles turned up to lots, for example. But if you go in game, yeah, I would recommend turning off particles and turning down shadows. There is, actually, it's going to turn, I was saving down to every 7 minutes. But there is, not key settings, there's another settings menu in the launcher for the game where you can, like, change all of the colors and shit. So. But, welcome back to Songs of Six, day 2. Currently I have 600 people. We're aiming for 1,000. This is our open pit mine. This is our clay mine. These are some of our farm fields that I might actually need to resize a little bit, or alternatively, just go up top and dig more trenches and fertilize them a little better, because this whole area is just going to be farming pretty soon. Because these don't quite have enough fertility. They need a little bit more water around them. But is what it is. This is kind of our like little out camp where we have our metalworks industry. If I fly over here, this is kind of the more main building. Got more big farm fields down here, a little fishing area, more farms, more farms. Got a livestock, and we're getting some more livestock over on this side, and I think we're gonna make another one of those pretty soon. Getting some more meat in the place. Got our nursery for one of the factions, so we're actually getting some kids in the fort now, which is good. We got a bunch of children, so we're not relying entirely on migrants anymore. This is beginnings of housing. This is some more housing. This is us slowly working on getting a university up and running. That is our administration building, and then we have a school over here, and then right beneath the school we have a library. We actually have 2 libraries. There's one here. These are statues which are waiting to get built because we need a specific material type, which we don't have yet. This is where we're training our military stuff. I still haven't done any military yet, so I have no idea how that works. These are graveyards. We also haven't built a walled structure yet either, which I probably should do. But yeah, that's where we're at currently. This is the structure that we're waiting on, the mason, which I just need a bunch more metal bars, because then we need to make cut stone. So I'm thinking about maybe putting another warehouse close by, although I could just use this one. That. Turn you down and go to that. But yeah, that's where we're currently at. Songs of Six. We are quite a bit in debt, and it might look terrible, but we are paying it off because we are selling some stuff. We are currently selling livestock at a pretty high amount, actually. People buy livestock for quite a bit. We're also selling wood because we have surpluses of wood constantly. And we are purchasing ore because our mines are kind of slow. But that is where we are at in Signs of Six. Oh, so we have this underground gravel spot, or charcoal mine. So there's a spot down here where we are mining charcoal. And I'm pretty sure that we need to make them a nicer layout in here because it's kind of dark for one thing, and also I kind of want to give them some underground housing. I feel like we need to move like kind of our capital area up to here maybe, or if not here, then maybe like a little further up here, something like that, because we need to build a fortress somewhere at some point. I'm thinking kind of like maybe back here, build a little stronghold, then kind of have like the outward town and city area, like build this all into farming, this all into farming, this all into livestock, and then this area all housing, and then back here can be kind of where we put the actual fortress or something. I don't know. Anyway, Lines of 6. Any questions? This game's really chill, so it's kind of a good, like, just ramble and talk about whatever and play game. Let's check food currently. We produced 6,200 foodstuffs last year and consumed 5,300. So that's fine. We got plenty of foodstuffs in stores. We got 1,700 foods in stores. Helm's Deep plus town. Yeah, basically. Yeah, that's kind of what you got to do. So, certain things we're still waiting on. We're going to need to build some walls pretty soon, though. So, I think kind of one thing that I really want to do is I want to move this. This is my throne. This is like our home base, the throne of Bob. They named it Bob. I didn't name him Bob. He came with that name. So we're sticking with it. But we need to move our throne for us at some point. And we need to put it in a bigger building. And we need to put it in a nicer building. So I think that's something that we need to work on. But, yeah. Maybe once chambers are available. All hail King Bob. No, it's the songs of the world called 6. That's why it's the songs of 6. Also, streamer's gonna be a streamer for a second. And remind everybody, it only costs 1 bit to get that 3rd spot on the leaderboard. Just saying. We are like 3 days into the week. Costs 1 bit. All right. What do I want to do first? Because these are the really nice fertile fields. These ones up here, not so much. I need their fertileness to get numbers to go up. So, let's dig some trenches. Good things it's not Songs of the River Styx. I mean, there's worse things it could be. There's way worse things it could be. So I think the way we're going to do this is we're going to do canal, road, canal, field. So canal, road, canal, field. Canal, road, canal, field. Going to be how we're going to do this. It's going to end up kind of having a neat little look. Because my current plan is to super duper 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 overstock food stuff is my current plan. Super duper 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 overstock food stuff. Specifically vegetable farms. These are 30 across, right? Yeah. Okay, so 30 by 30. And 30 by 30. And the people should get to it eventually. The food does spoil, but I need more of it to grow my population, so I'm okay with having some of it spoil. It spoils slower if it's in your storehouses, and I do have plenty of space in my storehouses. But the one that we keep running out of is vegetables. because they need food variety. But also, if stuff starts spoiling, then you can sell it at a certain point. So if you overstock, you can set it to auto sell, which is what we're going to do. This one's going to have some weird holes in the middle of it, but that's fine. Enjoy your lurks, Banana. That seems like a you problem, Sebastian. Also, I completely lost like the entirety of what I was talking about. But, you know. The thing that's the most impressive to me about this is allegedly I have 200 soldiers. No idea how or where they came from or when they arrived, but this game's weird. Like, you just make buildings and then stuff just happens. Like, I'm not sure that this should work this well, but it just kind of does. Also, the music decided to just, like, cease to exist. It's interesting. Chat, I need sound commands for entertainment for a second. Fuck. Music, please. I wonder if I turn up the night gamma. What that'll look like. It's just ambient wind noises for the time being, I guess. Yeah, I know, but it's just like, I'm so used to other games where like I have to like pull out my two front teeth to make them, what's the word? Where I have to pull out my two front teeth to make them like train. But this game, like, you just build that and then suddenly it's like, you have an army now. It's just kind of interesting. It's just not what I'm used to, you know? I'm used to games like making me work for things, I guess. And this game, like, you just click a few buttons and you build a building and it's like, magically, now you have that thing. And it's like, oh, neat. Cool. Thank you, game. You know what I mean? It's just not an experience that I'm necessarily used to. All right. And then a road in the middle. I can also do a road along the bottom here. Ooh. All right. Well, that's it. That should do just fine. Yeah, like in certain games, creating an army of ranged units where you have to spend half of your time removing their armor and can't telling them not to bring things. You know, I think like getting a functioning group of crossbow dwarves to not just kill themselves in Dwarf Fortress is one of the biggest challenges in Dwarf Fortress. Just like kind of flat. I mean, Dwarf Fortress is usually if I'm joking about a game where it's impossible to make an army of ranged units, I'm probably talking about Dwarf Fort. It's almost always the case as I'm talking about Dwarf Fort. This is just gonna be for vegetables. Actually. Let's just cancel that. That I don't want there precisely. This game just is so satisfying to watch. It's satisfying at slow speeds and it's satisfying at fast speed because of just the scale of it. Like, one of the coolest feelings in Dwarf Fortress is just, like, being able to point your finger at a thing and then suddenly, like, you just have this massive building, you know? It's one of the coolest things about Dwarf Fortress. I was just being like, all right, guys, I need all 200 of you to go and build this. And then it just, like, appears. This game's like that times 100. It's like, just look at those little dudes down there making that road. Look at them all, just running around. It's like watching an anthill, but more satisfying. It's like watching an anthill, except you get to say, I made this. It's like, these are just my bakeries. Like, legit, they're just making bread. That is all that this is doing. And they can't actually keep up with the demand. They're taking grain from my few small grain fields and making bread. Because I currently have 821 grain. There's currently one bread in the plate. Oh, now it's gone. Trying to set up armies. I can't remember what armies were like in Pharaoh. I'm not gonna lie. Genuinely can't remember. Couldn't tell you. It's been so long since I've played a Pharaoh. But this game kind of has like that same feeling as those games. I think I should probably make another one of these. I should probably what I should be doing right now is getting nurseries set up for every species. I think that's what I should be working on right now. Getting nurseries set up for every species. And getting a couple of them set up for every species. I'm going to get 2 more of those built. Realize that that's not lined up. That's fine. We'll cancel this one. Can spin it around. Connect them together. We'll make it work. You had super easy archers that were kind of bad unless they were just 4v1, and then you had to make gear for the spear units. Okay. Yeah, I understand that, like the pain of having to build a whole new industry just to, like, export one thing. It's like, oh my god, why you make me do this? Now that's for large-scale trading, but that's the only scale that we're at right now. Build another one of those. I'm not actually going to do anything with it right away, though. I'm just going to build it. At least I got a decent amount of cloth now. I didn't, like, I had my cloth industry screwed up for a while, and then I fixed it. And now suddenly it's like, yo, we have well, we don't have tons of clothing, but we do have tons of cloth. I have this weaver now. Probably make a second weaver, actually, but... Because these guys, they take a bunch of cloth and then they make clothing out of it. These guys, they make cloth. Is this the demo? Nope. This is the full game. Why would I stream a demo? I maybe an unpopular opinion, but I find streaming demos to be kind of redundant. It's like, if it's free and available, you should just go play it yourself. But no, I've had the full game for this since it launched. On Discord? I'm sorry, what? Are we on about, Banana? Your friend's band Deer Spring just appeared on but like the weirdest spelling of Discord. Is that like an intentional spelling error where you're trying to be edgy, or am I confused? Or is that something that I'm not used to? Never heard of it. But then again, I also think that magazines are kind of silly, so. Allegedly, it stops them from having a chance to die from heat or cold exposure. But, like, because the people in this game are so replaceable, it's more of a... It doesn't really become a concern unless you have, like, mass deaths. Like, if I actually, like, look at my deaths by going over to this. Heat exposure, cold exposure, murder, heat exposure. Yeah, it's, like, all exposures. So, like, for cold exposure, you need to have water around where they can skinny dip. And for cold exposure, you need to have fire pits around where they can hang around fires. And they die from that if they are exposed and traveling during the cold or hot season. I mean, to be clear, I love the look of the art of magazines. Like, there's a certain style that certain comic magazines had in the past and some tech magazines had as well that I think looks genuinely cool as fuck and I love looking at. That being said, like, they're kind of a relic of the past for a reason, at least in my opinion. So, like, I get all of the reading of that sort of nature that I could ever need out of just, online blogs. Daturo, do it. What's up? It's good to see you. Hey, yeah. Nothing. Still more coverage than they've gotten in the past? Well, that's great. Great for them. I mean, I've never heard of them, so you're not doing a very good job promoting them. If I have records, tell them to mail me one and I'll play it. That'll get it like 20 hits, right? Although that'll only work if they're not on a record label that would copy protect their music. I've definitely sold records because people sent me copies of their music. Oh yeah, that's literally what the Discord's for. Although here's the thing, right? There's definitely, maybe not a ton, but there's definitely a couple artists who've just like been in my chat before that are just like, hey, yeah, I write music. And that's kind of a form of self-promotion I'm fine with in my chat. I know it's kind of like a double standard, but music is kind of a different thing. Like, I really want Falafel, who lurks in this chat sometimes, and sometimes chats, to put his music back on cassette, or to put his music on cassette. Not back on, just to put his music on cassette so that I can buy it. Yep, Music Talk's the right place. Yeah, we bend the rules for the jams. Yeah. We did it for the jams, just like they say in that one song. We did it for the jams. Can I copy these? No, I can't copy those. That's kind of disappointing. I am going to copy this, though. Eventually. Not right now, though. This little room's getting built, which is good. It's almost got enough wood in there already, which is pretty good. How are we coming along down here? We're getting there. We're up to 68. I always miss the 67 of a material, but 68 on that. But we are getting metal pretty quick. We're making metal at a pretty speedy clip, which is good. What we need. Another death. They're getting dragged. Where is the bottom half of your torso? That's a murder, all right. There's only half of a person there. Damn. Good lord. What's our crime rate? Only 2.6%. There's only a 2.6% chance you're going to get murdered in our town of 658. That's fine, right? Oh, probably. It was definitely these people who ate him, yeah. When you start playing this for the first time, play the tutorial and look at the UI elements, because this game likes to hide UI elements. Like, I didn't realize these were buttons for the first 10 hours. So, like, this game likes to hide UI in weird places. Every number matters. But aside from that, this game's actually not that intimidating. It's kind of, it's one of those games where, like, it looks a lot scarier than it actually is. So just, like, look at the... Excuse me. Just play the tutorial and read everything is my advice when playing this game. But once you wrap your head around how the game thinks that UI should work, it's quite simple. Allegedly, somebody is starving. Yeah, play the tutorial and click everything. Yeah, because this game's got it's got an alright UI, but it's kind of stylized in weird ways where it's like it's kind of like Conquest of Elysium, where you don't realize that something's a button half the time, or at least I don't realize something's a button half the time. I often don't realize things are clickable in this game for one reason or another. You just don't accept them. Because, like I'm clicking these, right, to accept these guys. Just don't accept them. You don't have to accept everybody. You can also settle in areas that have high populations of each type. And you can pick which is your starting race, which one you start with the most of off the start. So you can start with primarily these guys, and then just do hunting and mining. You could go with primarily these guys and just jump straight into having libraries. You could be primarily these guys and just like farm and stuff and have animal pets. Like, you don't have to start with these guys as your primary. I started with these guys as your primary because they're the most like neutral, easy ones. They're kind of just pretty good at everything, and they're vegetarians, so you can feed them by just harvesting stuff. Nope. When I click this, I'm accepting people into my city. This is where you accept people into your city and your population of each race. So when this number at the bottom has a +1, that's one migrant from that species that wants to come in. When that number turns into a +1, that's one migrant from that species that wants to join. That's one migrant from this species, etc. So, like I said, this game's idea of UI is a little bit unique, but once you wrap your mind around it, it's really not that bad. You're headed to AFK? Alrighty. But just kind of wrapping the conversation back around, Banana, what kind of music does your friend's band write? Because you know I like music, so I'm curious. I'm just here going, my new synthesizer shipped, and I'm excited. One of these days, you know, like this is something I've threatened people with before, but one of these days I'm just gonna randomly drop an album. It's like, I think way more music shit than I think people realize. One of these days I'm just gonna put out a really like dark, sad, depressing post-punk album, and everybody's gonna be like, Blind, are you okay? And I'll be like, no! I'll just move on with my life. It's post-punkish. I might like it then. I like post-punk. Can't remember who it was. I need to look at Discord, but somebody recommended me music that I was listening to last night while I was working. Just scrolling up. I don't know that Discord name, but the person with the Discord name Prime recommended Rope Sect to me the other night. And pretty good. Pretty good. I'll have a look after stream for sure. But yeah, getting any kind of advertising as a band is really difficult to do. So now you can now I can purchase slaves, which I haven't done any of. But I still don't have any positive money. I'm really curious about how the slaving systems in this game works. Your caps lock seems to have been on. It's one of those weird buttons that mysteriously gets pressed, and I'm never fully sure how. They're your friends' band. Ah, okay, gotcha, good. They sound like swell dudes. My experience with people in bands is usually people in bands are pretty cool. Usually people in bands are pretty cool. Up to 70. Little bars there. To be fair, they only need to ship the bars from like there to there, so not exactly a pretty far shipping-ish. Breeder is damn close to done too, so that's good. If I speed time up, it'll get done real fast. It's just a matter of them bringing this stuff to it. And zoop. This just needs to get constructed. It's getting constructed. This is our, we're finally making a mason's workshop, which I think is kind of offensive that I haven't made a mason's workshop yet. Let's... Let's do something kind of neat for the throne room. Because, you know, chat, I am kind of a dwarf. My soul. There we go. That'll do. Gotta start, you know, building stuff. We're gonna build these, and we're gonna make kind of a underground complex over there. For these guys. We're gonna make them happy. Give them living and sleeping spaces and sleeping quarters underground. It'll take forever, but it'll also get us a lot of rocks, which we're gonna need eventually. This game also has one of the most, like, convincingly believable construction animations for a top-down game I think I maybe have ever seen. Hey, Bot's been nice. Look at Bot being all nice and charitable. For once. Yeah, I have a weird relationship with writing music because I love doing stuff with music. I hate the process, or I don't hate, but like I'm not very good at, and I kind of dislike the process of like finishing and mastering music. I do really enjoy just writing music though, and like jamming. There's a few YouTube channels which do all right, which put up like these several hour long jams, like synthesizer jams, which I think it maybe would be the only way I could actually release music. It's like, here, just have an hour of synthesizers making sounds. Not a lot of people are interested in listening to that kind of stuff, but I like listening to that kind of stuff. Uh-oh. 2 more deaths. 1 person starved. We have plenty of food, so food's not the problem. I think we just need another eatery is the actual issue. Because we have this one eatery. It's pretty small. I think I'm going to copy the eatery, and we're going to fly over here and build another one. You're not musically inclined? It's a skill. Jersey Mike's. I don't actually know what Jersey Mike's is. I've heard the term Jersey Mike's before. I don't actually know what it is. But yeah, being musically inclined requires you... It's a skill like anything else. You have to take time and learn how to do it. Once you take time and learn how to do it, it's not actually that difficult, per se. It's just a matter of doing it. But it also depends on what kind of music, right? Some types of music are significantly more skill dependent than others. Like anybody can buy a guitar, right? But you have to like sit down and learn how to play it, and that's the hard part. An underwater sandwich shop? Is this American slang that I'm not familiar with? Why would you go to an underwater sandwich shop? It does sound like it. Like, what does that even mean? What's a submarine sandwich shop? Like, what in the world? Genuine question. I have no idea. I've never heard that term before. You once composed a 7/4-piece duet for piano back in the day when you were in love. Oh no, you never got to finish it because things didn't end up working out. I wrote a lot of music back in the day, a lot of which actually got performed too, including a 3-movement symphony, and a choir piece which both got performed in front of like not small crowds by well-known musicians, which to this day still hurts my brain. But I thought that is that type of sandwich called a submarine? Is that why it's called Subway? I may have just learned something that I'm not okay with. So I guess like Jimmy John's is a submarine sandwich shop then? It does sound like underwater though. See, to me they're like, I've known those as sub or hoagie sandwiches. Huh. All right. Well then. I've never heard of grinder. I've heard of hoagies, and I've heard the term poor boy, but why would you call a sandwich a grinder? What? You know how submarines have the binocular thing? Yes, it's called Periscope. Yes, a Periscope. Periscope was also a mobile streaming service which existed that allowed you to stream through Twitter for a minute. Does anybody remember Periscope? That's what I think of when I think of Periscope. But also, Banana, you're breathtaking, actually. And Zach Quicksilver, hello. Bruno QC, hello. We are just waiting for my dudes down here to make me some bricks. Should also probably suspend those statues, because they are bringing materials to those statues first, which I really don't need. As much as I want them, I don't need them. Originally from Hog Island in Philadelphia. Can I just ask a question? What is with the obsession with America and sandwiches? It's like every part of the world has like their own food. America, it's like variations on shitty buns-based sandwiches with a lot of meat, usually. Why do Americans like sandwiches so much? Don't credit yourselves with burritos. Come on, please. That burritos definitely comes from the people who speak Spanish. But it's like sandwiches and burgers is America. Sandwiches are 3 steps. Place in hand, place other hand on steering wheel, and consume. 3 steps to sandwich. Pouring more coffee over here. No, they aren't, but America's obsessed with them. And I would say that like maybe parts of America is obsessed with burritos, but I think that all of America is obsessed with sandwiches and burgers. Like I do kind of agree with the burrito statement for parts of America. But I don't think it's as overarching as. I need one more person so I can have 666 people. Usually hits multiple food groups. Yes, you can indeed hit all of the basic food groups in a sandwich. You can have beans, bacon, whiskey, and lard in a sandwich if you try hard enough. There we go. We have 666 people. That's not an achievement or anything. I just wanted that because lol Satan. It's called Soylent. It's the human version of kibble. You're waiting for a shipment of Soylent, actually. Fun fact about Soylent is Soylent wasn't allowed in Canada for about 3 years. And during that time, they offered me a handful of sponsorships, and every time I had to respond with, sorry, I live in Canada, you can't ship it up here. And the reason they weren't allowed in Canada was because they had significant / considerable amounts of mold, which they've since fixed. It's a soybean meal replacement beverage. You drink it, and it's like all of your daily meals stuffs. I don't think it's still going. I can check. Soylent. Can I buy Soylent in Canada now? Yes, I can buy Soylent in Canada now. Can, in fact, buy Soylent in Canada now. They have a Canadian website and everything. With Canadian prices. Holy fuck, Soylent's expensive. Well, see, here's the thing around Win, right? There's lots of foods that are available in the States that are not available in Canada or cease being available in Canada for very long periods of time because Canada has very high requirements for food health and safety. One of my favorite examples is Arizona iced tea, which is a very popular beverage everywhere, right? At least in North America. It's cheap, it's tasty, it's got caffeine in it, and, it's delicious. But it vanished in Canada for about the better part of 2 to 4 years. And the reason it vanished was because there was a unacceptable amounts of human urine in each can. I don't know what acceptable amounts of human urine are, but apparently there was unacceptable amounts of human urine. It was on average 0.5% of each can was human urine. So they had to stop selling them in Canada to get it down to 0.02% of each can being human urine. Basically, they weren't filtering their water well enough. But then again, don't look up the percentages of human urine or just urine in general in your tap water because it's not zero. So there's also that. It's just like when shortly after everybody's favorite drink, G Fuel, Gamer Fuel, launched, it was taken off sale in Canada for a while. Not that long, about 6 months, I would say, because there was unhealthy amounts of lead in him. Use a Brita filter? Use a better filter. And the reason I say use a better filter is because Brita filters are all made in China. You could do better. There are companies that are local to your country that make filters that you can buy. They're slightly more expensive, but better filters. I use a filter, but it's not Brita. I use a Canadian brand called Lightique, which my dad actually worked on at one point, but no longer is contracted through my dad. But I don't know what's local to you. Do some research. But find one that's not Brita. Literally the only reason I say find one that's not Brita is because, like, they use shitty plastics and are not really recyclable. Even though they claim to be, they're kind of not. From the tap only needs to be 20 to 30% water for there to be legal issues. That's funny. That's funny. Yeah, but not a acceptable amount of biodegradableness. But then again, I buy soap that is ludicrously more expensive than it should be just because it's, like, sold in biodegradable packaging and I can refill my bottles with it. I think, like, I'm spending more money on the packaging in some instances. But then again, I also buy, like, wax paper to store food in, so, I can't be trusted. I've talked about this many times. I splurge on things that I deem to be important that a lot of people don't really deem to be important, which is fine. Food and food storage is one of the ways that we are destroying our planet. I was trying to see where they're routing. They're, like, routing across here. Let's just give them this as a little pathway. Pathway here. Connect that. Oh, it only needs to be more. You can't. Basically, what I think Iranwin is saying, Lorenz Forces, is you can't sue unless it's less than 30% water. So if it's like 70% dirt, then you can sue. Is I think what they're suggesting. So the majority of the time, it's probably a significantly higher percentage of water than that. But that's all that it needs to be legally. I think is what they're suggesting. If I understand that correctly. Yeah, exactly. So there's only legal ramifications if it's less than that, which is not likely. It's likely that you're not suing people over your water unless you live in certain specific towns where crises have happened. So use starting to wash your dishes manually more often because fighting the balance between running the dishwasher more often and leaving dishes out longer to fester. I fill up the sink in the morning every day. And by the end of the day, it's kind of cold, but I still just clean my dishes in that. It's just fine. Or like I'll have half of a sink full of like soapy water at the beginning of the day, and then I'll top it off with hot water twice a day. But for me, my dishes are cleaned before I'm finished cooking usually. Free to do that as a bachelor. As a bachelor, just buy bulk, buy bulk soap, which is why like I have like this generic brand soap container under my sink, and then I buy this like these refill bags from the grocery store. They have these refill bags of like detergent and like dish soap, which is expensive. I buy them in like they're like $30 bags of soap, but it lasts me for like 4 months, 5 months even. You just wait for the dishwasher to be full. I haven't filled up and used my dishwasher in about 6 months. I don't like leaving dishes that long anywhere, even in the dishwasher. And I don't really use dishes. Like, I don't use a dish for I usually use a dish for breakfast, which I just clean right after I use it. And I never use a dish for lunch. I just make a sandwich and eat it on my cutting board. You remember hearing about some city that spent a year importing bottles of water because they've finally got their stuff cleared and secured? Yeah, no, that's the crisis that I was talking about, which I can't remember the name of it now. I watched a documentary on it, and I can't remember the name of the goddamn town. Flint. Yeah, that was the name of it. I wanted to say something else, but yes, Flint. Shit was a nightmare to read about. As somebody who cleaned kitchens for a living for about 8 years of his life, Bruno, I am incapable of not just immediately cleaning dishes. It's like a manic impulse these days. If there's dirty dishes, I clean them. It's just a fact. I can't hide things. If I know that they're there, I clean them. They're already clean, usually. Most dishwashers are actually more efficient than most dishwashers are more efficient than interesting. I just realized that this is actually working. Most dishwashers are more efficient than like washing dishes manually. If you wash like dishes 3 times a day, then yeah. Yeah, but Costco is also a terrible company that is not exactly trying its best to save the planet or anything. So I wouldn't say that Costco is exactly like a model example of what we should strive to be like when it comes to food and consumption and, you know, soaps and things. I would say that they're actually kind of the opposite. Mining takes forever in this game. Also make a ration maker. Which I'm going to put over here somewhere. Maybe on this side. I don't want to put it down here, but I don't really have space for it. Doesn't matter how well they pay people. What matters is the stuff that they stock and what they make available to people, right? Like, yeah, they pay their employees well. Like, that's not the problem with them. The problem with them is they support mass consumerism, which is a problem. In case you missed the memo. But yes, they do pay people better than Walmart. Yes, can confirm that is a good YouTube channel. Do about that. But this last thing over here is just going to be an auxiliary station. There we go. I'll do. Powdered dish and clothing soap? Why do you need powdered clothing or dish soap? Or I guess for dishwashers, I would assume then, yeah. I mean, this is going to be the Canadian here talking. Go to Canadian Tire. Like hardware stores often have like bulk powdered soaps, at least around here. Like you could go to like, like I said, Canadian talking, but you could go to like Rona or Canadian Tire here and just buy like a bag of soap. Like just you could just if you want to buy like a rice bag size of like powdered dish soap, yeah, you can just get that. Because you pay for the water. Okay, yeah, no, I got you. I mean, you pay for the water here too, but we have so much of it, it's really fucking cheap. Paying for water is not really a concern here because of how cheap it is. When things are hyper affordable, it's not really something you really think about. Yep. No, I also live in an apartment where I can't really do that. It can be, yeah. I mean, it also depends on the liquid soap, and it also depends on the powdered soap. But, yes. I mean, one of the things that I've changed this year, which has been an interesting transfer in regards to soap and such, is I no longer use shampoo. I use these soap bars, which are not made out of plastic. Unlike shampoo. It's way more expensive, but I like it more than shampoo at this point. And then I know I've heard of other people using like significantly more. I need to sneeze. I'm muted for sneeze. I've also heard of people using things like vinegars to clean their hair and whatnot because it's completely eco-neutral, unlike our shampoos, which are kind of a nightmare. Apologies. Sneeze came back. Oh boy. We're not eco-neutral currently, but we can be better. It's a good thing if those were unheard. I'm having a sneezing fit right now, believe it or not. And it's a good thing they're unheard sneezes, because if you heard those, you'd probably be deaf. Very loud sneezes. Trying my best here. See, it's hard for me to get stuff like that at an affordable rate. Fuck. The stuff I buy is literally from a farmer's market, so it's made by somebody in their backyard. For fuck's sake! Jesus Christ! Body, please. I mean, not having to ship something is always going to be the ideal. I missed it again. Crystal meth style soap? I mean, if you're going to get crystal meth, at the very least, get it from somebody who you know. Get it locally. Support the local economy, yo. Hood style. All right. Our absolutely humongous farming expansion going pretty well. It's going pretty well, even though we are losing some people at pretty decent clip. We're also doing all right. Someone running a leaf blower outside or something? I don't know what just happened. My body just decided that it needed to expel something. To be completely honest with you, I have no idea what just happened. It was just like, we're going to sneeze now. Okay. I suppose we're going to sneeze now. I'm going to make another... I don't know if I even have any of these. Onyx. That's disturbing. Slightly. Oh, never mind. I read that backwards. I thought it said that it was producing meat. I was like, why is a citizen hatchery producing meat? That's concerning. Breeding spots and humidifiers. It's also strange. All right, well, that should be easy to make. It's population control. I mean, I suppose so. I mean, these pig people, they build cribs, and then they just give them cucumbers, and then they make adults eventually, right? This is just like, there's a breeding spot, and then humidifiers. This game's disturbing. Really? I don't know. This is just the time of year where I start sneezing more because like I sneeze a lot when places are dusty, and normally I just have my windows open all the time. But more recently, when it's fucking cold outside. Okay, so I don't have my windows open all the time, so I don't have as much fresh air in my apartment. My apartment does get kind of dusty. Probably just sneezing at dust. That's kind of what it feels like. It's like sneezy season, you know what I'm saying? Oh, you want to know what's fun, chat? Chat, you guys want to see something fun? I got something fun for you. This is news as of 2 hours ago. Steam removes a popular Chinese strategy game after Ark Survival Evolved's studio claims it stole their code. Studio Wildcard says Myth of Legends is built on Ark Survival Evolved's source code. Well then. That's cool. Oh boy. I have a good faith belief that Myth of Empires was built by stealing Ark Survival Evolved source code, and 2, using the stolen source code as the gameplay foundation for Myth of Empires. I'll post a link to the article in the chat. Neat. With the game was actually good when it came out. I mean, there's a few games on Steam that I kind of look at. I'm like, this looks weirdly similar to another game, but this one's Chinese. It's happened a couple of times where I do kind of wonder. Like, I kind of wonder about Amazing Cultivation Simulator. When Amazing Cultivation Simulator first popped up, there was definitely some accusations that it was using RimWorld source code. So... I'm just reading this article right now. Interesting. Ark is not very good. It's also possible Rim was way more stable. It's one of the reasons that I kind of look at Amazing Cultivation Simulator. I'm like, I really don't want to promote this. Although that's not saying much. Rim's not that stable. Rim's pretty unstable, actually. If I minimize for too long, does it? I'm minimized right now. I'm staring at OBS and it's still playing. Because this is the game minimized right now. Oh, you mean my stream if you minimize it for too long. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. My view counts have been like... So, my view counts have been doing this weird thing recently, Banana, where, like, I'll have, like, 70 viewers, and then I'll just start rambling on a subject, talking with a couple people, and the view count will just start to drop, but, like, the number of people that are in the chat doesn't. So actually, that wouldn't surprise me all that much. I mean... Maybe it's 1,000 monkeys at a keyboard situation, Lord Aki? I don't know. How did that go, Frog Fryer? And landed on a historic site you were searching for? Fantastic, Vim. Oh, it's all good. Right, man? It's the busy season, dude. All good. Merca just had Thanksgiving, and then... So it's busy for a bit, and people are cooling off from that. It's school's picking up because finals, it's fine. So you shouldn't be watching me. You should be watching Bellinair, then. Or Sui. When they're streaming FF. I just could not care less about MMOs, so I just don't bother. For me. Right, you got built. Can I export? What do I have a surplus of? I have a surplus of paper. That's interesting. Let's export some paper. Not a huge amount, but we'll export some paper. So we're just waiting for this. Bonk. Bring in full list of employees. The first gift sub in 3 days. Not even joking. Thank you very much for gifting a sub, Vin. Taranwin. Here's for lurking in the background, Vin. Appreciate you, mate. Don't you ever refer to an MMO as a roguelike again. I will shoot you into the sun. Chat, can I get a big round of beers for Vin gifting a sub? I didn't like Distant Worlds 1, so I wouldn't personally check out Distant Worlds 2. We're technically on call all weekend, which requires you to have your laptop ready. So yeah, just play Dwarf Fortress all weekend. That works. I like the old Masters of Orion. The new one should like not have been made. That's my take on the new Masters of Orion. I actually have like a decent supply of metal now. The one done by Wargaming? Yeah. That shouldn't have been made. World would have been better if they just didn't make that. Oh. Let's crank out a lot of rock blocks because we're going to need them. We are indeed going to need them. Once we get this will bring in more human population too. Speaking of, how are we doing on food? Pretty incredible. Turns out, just building a bunch of really big farm fields kind of helps. Turns out. They're actually not that optimal, but there's just much of them, so. No. You said that it has multiple roguelike dungeons. Actually has multiple roguelike dungeons in it. Actually has multiple roguelike dungeons in it. I'm pretty sure that it doesn't have true permadeath that is not turn-based. So it has several dungeons in it that don't have a level requirement. Most likely is what people refer to as MMO roguelike dungeons. Don't have this argument with me. There was a day where I had this, not argument, but like session of DMing back and forth with Epion of Jupiter Hell, where we talked shit about World of Warcraft, which, you know, I will do any day. But because there was a big bunch of articles that were like, World of Warcraft is now a roguelike, and we just like died inside a little because of it. So please don't make me do that again. Building a big road off the map for aesthetic purposes doesn't actually have any practical purpose. I'm not joking. I will time people out for that. Like, it's not a discussion that I like to have or see people make fun of anymore, Bruno. Imagine calling an MMO dungeon a roguelike. Aranwin. Imagine that. It's just like that brief marketing campaign where Doom was talking about their arcade mode with permadeath, where it's like it's scoring and there's permadeath in it, because Doom Eternal has a arcade mode with permadeath, and it's like, Doom is now a roguelike, and I cried inside. It's literally just a run-based dungeon. You don't need to add all of those details onto it. It's literally just run-based dungeons for MMOs, which MMOs have had for, like, decades! Little, like, off dungeons that just... Like, they've had those for a very long time. That's literally all of Ultima Online. Media folk like to write headlines? No, they like to write headlines that get clicks. And people click on clicky buzzwords, and roguelike is a clicky buzzword according to some morons. The only people that actually get upset by those headlines are a few people who really like niche genres like myself. It makes me sad. It's like, just let me have my obscure niche genres and quit diluting it and devaluing it, which is all that crap does. Dilutes and devalues. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if streams get paused after you minimize for a bit, because it's like my view counts have been doing weird shit recently over the past couple of days. And I've been getting weird errors on other people, on friends' streams recently. A guy goes around punching out a newspaper men that had written bad things about him. That seems like a really weak person. What defines a roguelike game? So, this is my favorite, like, example to use for this, Zach Quicksilver. Do you remember how people used to call first-person shooters Doom clones? Or Quake clones? Or Wolf clones? A game that was a Doom clone was a game that was very similar in, or ran in the same engine as Doom, right? A game that was a Quake clone was a first-person shooter where you could aim up and down, right? So there was a very long list of Doom clones that came out around the same time as Doom, and they were called Doom clones. And then there was a very long list of games that came out around Quake that were called Quake clones. And then everybody grew balls and just called them first-person shooters, right? Because they were like, oh, well, it's silly to keep calling these Quake clones. So a game that is a roguelike is a game that's like Rogue. Rogue is a game that came out in the 80s, has a very particular look and style, and it has to emulate that look and style with a few very specific things. It has to be run-based, so you die, you permadeath, you start over. There's no procedural, there is no meta progression outside of run to run. So if you die, there shouldn't be any meta progression. Some roguelikes have specific modes that circumvent this and allow you to learn the game a little easier with tourist modes and such. And it has to be procedurally generated with randomly distributed items with something that you have to discover from run to run that is an unknown. So either random routes, random routing, or discoverable items. So if it isn't a turn-based, procedurally generated dungeon crawler of a sort that can have RPG elements, it's not a roguelike. So Binding of Isaac is a run-based action game. The term being run-based, because the only mechanic that Binding of Isaac really retains from roguelikes that is unique to it is run-based. Because you die, you start the game again from the beginning. It needs to be turn-based or it's not a roguelike. So Risk of Rain is a run-based third-person shooter. Risk of Rain 2. Risk of Rain 1 is a run-based platformer. Spelunky is a run-based platformer. Binding of Isaac is a run-based action game. or a run-based bullet hell. Same with Enter the Gungeon. These games are run-based. They're not roguelikes, because gameplay-wise, they're nothing like Rogue. The only mechanic that they share with Rogue is run-based. Quite literally. The Hades isn't a roguelike. It's a run-based action game. A great one, but it's a run-based action game. It's not a roguelike. Because they're nothing like Rogue. So how can you be like something if you're nothing like it? It would be like calling XCOM an RTS. It's silly. Why would you do that? It's like that one streamer that I still mock to this day, but never name, who streamed Battletech the day Battletech came out on the Steam with the title, New MechWarrior RTS. It's the same level of silly. Like, why would you do that? So. No, it's not. It has a next turn button, Banana. Don't be an asshole. Like, it's not even me trying to necessarily be a dick about genres, even though I get accused of that sometimes. It's quite literally and genuinely just me being sad that a genre I like and enjoy, that I've played for as long as I've been alive, is, according to some people, ceasing to exist. Because it's just been turned into a marketing buzzword to sell more copies of other games. So whenever I see, like, this game added a roguelike mode, or this game added a roguelike dungeon, or MMO adds a roguelike dungeon, I just get mad, because it's like, no, you didn't, for one thing. Also, you added a run-based dungeon. It's like, I barely call Skyrim an RPG. It's like an action-adventure game with RPG elements. But then again, fucking Call of Duty is a first-person shooter with RPG elements. Because the multiplayer first-person shooter has RPG elements. But one of my biggest pet peeves at this point, when it comes to this whole discussion and argument, is people actually understand. They just refuse to, because Souls-like fans have the same issue. If you say something is a Souls-like game, you get an immediate image in your head of what that is. Dark Souls games are action-adventure games, yo. But it's a very specific thing they're trying to emulate when you make a Souls-like game. Or a Soulsborne game, whatever. The reason I don't agree with the progression of language argument, Paranoid, and I'm agreeing with you here, is it's an illogical progression of language. Roguelike doesn't mean anything. It literally doesn't mean anything. It's literally just stating it's very similar to a very specific cult classic game that nobody bought or played. Literally, that's all that it is. It's literally just, this is similar to a very specific niche cult classic that is being usurped by large companies because it's a fun buzzword, because indie games usurped it. So, I would play a XCOM lore-based RTS. That would be rad. Well, I mean, WoW clone was a term that was thrown around for a while, but MMOs are just MMOs, right? I mean, if you want to call League of Legends an RTS-like, I could see that. I'll call them MOBA, an RTS-like adjacent video game. But I don't know. It's just that's the definition, and it's the definition that I stick by. And every now and again, people point at me and go, well, you're just never gonna win. And then, you know what? I guess at the end of the day, if this is the hill that I die on, it's kind of a harmless hill to die on, frankly. And if I need to die on this hill, I guess I'm kind of okay with that. If I need to die on the hill of, I have a very rigid definition for a specific type of game I like, if I need to die on that hill, I guess I'll die on that hill. Well, I mean, there was two types of MMOs for a while there, right? You were either a WoW clone or you were a RuneScape clone for a while there. And before that, you were either a Anarchy Online clone or you were a... What's the name of that game? EverQuest clone. Or you were more Diablo-like. I don't know. I just... It's sort of like, I like strict definitions, right? In city builders and colony builders, there's a very specific difference between city builder and colony builder to me, right? Like, SimCity is a city builder. Banished is a city builder. This is more of a city builder. Dwarf Fortress is a colony builder. King Under the Mountain is a colony builder. They're not really city builders because it's not at scale enough to be a city. I mean, for a while there, like, Banished Clone, like, almost is its own subgenre of, like, city builder and town builder and whatnot. Is a 3D MMO with a hotbar. A WoW clone is a 3D MMO with a hotbar. Like, but if you want to, like, really get into fun definitions, to figure out the difference between an RPG MMO and an MMORPG. World of Warcraft is an MMORPG. Final Fantasy XIV is an RPG MMO. That's a fun one. Because that one always confuses people. Yes, RPG first versus MMO first. Does it have big cutscenes and does it have an engaging plot line that is allegedly interesting if you spend 7,000 hours in it? It's an RPG MMO. Is it a game where you click through all the dialogue and forget that it exists and then go murder the horde? Then it's an MMORPG. Is it an RPG first or an MMO first? Like, Amazon's MMO, New World, that's an MMO first. RPG second. Let's go out into the world, craft shit, and beat people up. Versus, leisurely enjoy a long story. But I don't know. Like I said before, I'm just kind of a dick about genres, depending on who you ask. Oh, sweet. There are a few idle workers. You mean too few? Is that what that means? I now have too much work because everybody's building these. This is the first time in this entire city I've actually had enough work. So I was like, you know what? If I just build a bunch of farm fields, that'll probably fill up all the jobs. And it turns out, kind of is. They're also building this. Pretty good clip now, too. I hate it. So that hatchery is disturbing looking. That's all I have to say. What is the goal with this? Build a big city. Get 13,000 people, I think, is the... It's either 12 or 13,000 is the final unlock. 12,000. Get 12,000 citizens is the goal. It's like a big old balancing act. If you look at the trailer on Steam for this game, you'll see the combat too. It's very Total War-esque. And this is the world map. This is us here. These are all other countries. So that's us right there. But if you zoom in on the world map, you'll see things moving around like little trading caravans that are actually carrying resources that I created potentially and bringing stuff that I'm paying to import. You can actually like see wagons heading to you with resources like that one right there, which is indeed heading to me with resources that I have imported from them. So, you know, that kind of shit. It's just a big... This game kind of describes itself as an empire city builder. It's like... Yes. Banana. Currently, we're at 717. And you start with 5. Now we're at 723. A city-state builder? Kind of. Well, I mean, for like a fantasy game, this literally is like a country-sized group of people. I need a bigger pottery shop. Well, so currently we have 600, and that's filling up this. We got a lot of map left, so yes. Absolutely do. Like, this is the size of what I've built right here. This screen. That's how much is on the map. So if I turn off these overlays, it'll be easier to see. But, like, that's all that I've built right now. Like, that's my housing district. Just, like, quintuple that. And yeah. Absolutely. Like, when I talk about this is a game about scale, I'm not joking. This is a big game. And this is a solo developer. Which is why the visuals are small and simple looking. I'm pretty sure Evil Trick hit the final unlock. I don't know. I don't think that there's any, like, invasions. I don't think you can invade people. But maybe? I don't know. Currently, the overworld seems to just kind of be like a map. I don't think that this stuff is super active. This is like... These are all the different regions and their populations and happiness levels and how many slaves they have. So yeah, I don't really know what's possible with that. Well, 6 is the world. This game has like its own like kind of detailed lore too. So, I don't know. It's a neat game. And like I always say, I play games that I think are interesting, and this is a game that I think is interesting. Speaking of, how's that road going? Hey, and this is my road that I'm building as a hobby project. And also, those little wagons that appear will actually appear on the side of your map and run across your map. Like it's neat. And if you're interested in trying this game, it does have a demo. But keep in mind that the demo is like a year behind, and because it's never received an update. When this game launched on Steam, the demo was feature parity with the paid version, but just didn't have as much content. Like, it cut you off at a point. And it still is that way. They haven't changed it at all, so they haven't updated it. So the demo is quite a ways behind. But yeah, no, this game has a shit ton of potential. It's neat. I mean, it has enough potential that the last time I spoke with Tarn Adams, he stated that he's noticed this game and gone, yeah, that does look neat. If Tarn Adams has noticed and gone, yeah, that looks neat, it's probably neat. And the fact that you can just click and copy stuff super fast is great, too. Oh, hey, we finally finished the university. This is our university. Apparently, we don't have enough workers allocated for it, but... But we do allegedly have a university now. Don't know what it does, but we have it. Time to make more housing. Another kind of neat thing about this game is that certain species like more organic shaped structures instead of like square structures. So certain species are totally fine with living in a square house, right? But others will get kind of upset if they have to live in a square house and want to live in a round house. So I think that this just destroys buildings, doesn't it? Kind of curious. Yes, it does. That's interesting. Yeah, it takes out the walls. That's funny. I'll let them build the roads first, then we'll come back and do that. Songs of 6 million. I mean, yeah. Like I said, this is a neat game. It's a neat game. And also, like, you know, this game has overwhelmingly reviews ×2 for a reason, right? That's also a thing that I like to point out about games. It's like, you know, if a game has overwhelming reviews ×2, it's probably pretty good. just like, I don't think it's gonna be too unpopular to just be like, oh, this game's probably pretty okay. Wish I could make the hearths bigger, though. My favorite question I got yesterday about this, though, was I was building some fireplaces like this, and somebody was like, is that a helipad? Yes, that's definitely a helipad. Because they admittedly do look like an H right now. So I do have tons of food stores. Man, I might actually have to produce more food again. I think we were going to hit that point, but yeah, here we are. All right, so these guys really are like lizard people because they're like giant fucking grubs. That's upsetting. Building statues. Curious about what the statues look like. I've never actually seen statues. Yeah, I mean, like, I think that's the long-term plan for this, right? Like, everything about this game has always just been scale. Da 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 da. So I'm assuming that we'll eventually get to that point. Wouldn't surprise me in the slightest if we did. Placing statues around. Increasing the value of things. And then they put wood on there. They actually do burn the wood. You know what? Let's just cancel that one. Only need the one. But yeah, like I always say with games like this, try the demo. Try the demo. Try the demo. All right, so I guess probably what I need to do next is build those law buildings. Because I've just never made those. Trying to find things I haven't built yet. We got that ration maker almost done down at the bottom. Got the leather tailor. We got the paper maker. We need the tool smithy eventually. We got all of those. These are what we don't have. Guard posts. I haven't started making guard posts yet, so I guess we should start making guard posts. Put one right there. Or by trading. One over here. That'll do. Also, I'm gonna copy you and make another one of you. Room copier. I need more mason stuff getting done. Another person died. Now's where we crank up the speed of the game. So I've got a lot of jobs that need to get done now. That's going to take a while because it requires clay pots. That one should be pretty quick. Trying to give all of my soldiers armor, which is going to take forever. But speaking of things taking forever, that's also going to take forever. Guard posts. Because they require armor. But anyway, enough of the rambling. Man, I'm beyond to the point where I'm like, what day is it? Because I'm on day 8 of streaming 24 days in a row. So this is the most days I've streamed in a row in over a year. Because I was 6 days a week for a couple of years, and then I went down to 5 earlier this year. And I've been at 5 days a week streaming for a while. So this is day 8 in a row of 24. Which we're doing for every day of December. We can work on more livestock farms down here. Got some livestock in there, which we'll start breeding. This was our first one. Maxed out. Got more incoming. These give us leather, and they also give us, meats, obviously. What are you currently outputting? Paper, which I do have a surplus of. Outputting wood. Let's go back to outputting furniture. Some more of it. I don't want to sell all of my furniture, but furniture is something that we could absolutely sell. Well, we are producing armor then. Okay, so that's a statue then. That's kind of neat. That's also a statue. Those statues are kind of weirdly oppressive. I guess, like, put them along my road. Kind of out here. That'd look kind of cool, I think. I wonder if I could actually get all of this stuff in behind a wall. At the very least on this side. Could probably build a wall up to here. Make this into a gate. Fortifications. Chat, can I get a round of beers? If you're listening to the stream, just type in the word beer. See how many beers we can get. So Grand Wall is the most expensive. Stone Wall is not very expensive. Palisade is very cheap. Start building... Let's just build a stone wall up to there. See what we can do with that. Let's just pause the game for a second. Kind of curious. There doesn't seem to be a... There doesn't seem to be a gate button. Don't want to... I just want to remove jobs. Delete job. That's the button I'm looking for. There should be a hotkey for that. I don't think there is. I find it kind of distressing that there doesn't seem to be. But yeah, if you want to see how this run started, there's a link to the YouTube video, which went up this morning. Want to skim through and kind of see the early beginnings of this. We could also totally make it into a moat, although I don't think that would be particularly efficient. I'm just curious about what these walls end up looking like. Because I've seen them in screenshots, but I've never actually seen them myself. So I guess we'll do them one segment at a time. I guess we'll just kind of go all the way up to this mountainside up here and just kind of go this way. That'll give us a nice large space for a city. And then maybe I could put like a wooden palisade around this bottom half down here. Uh-oh. Is that a body? Ah. Well, there's a child on the ground who is out of breath. Age 0. So is just planking, I guess? Kids these days. Yo, Chocobo, what up? Do that and that. And... that. And that. And... you. You. Figured my 6 out? I mean, I figured it out a while ago. Game's not that difficult. Bit obtuse, but difficult. Gonna need blocks delivered at some point. We're just making walls. I figured it's about time I start building walls. So obviously, you know, you got to make a needlessly gaudy front door. Naturally. I mean, the literal second I don't have this much food in stock, people start starving. But... I mean, the one that's confusing me is this one, because I should technically have a large amount of stock, because all of this is making this. I still don't have any in stock, but maybe this next year will change, because this is the first year that those fields have really been up and running. Why are you gonna ask me? Which part? What stat are you gonna ask me to check for? That's the question I have to ask. Which stat are you gonna ask me to check for? No. Ronwin. I'm actually not sure if it does anything. I do it because it looks cool. No, I want to know what stat you want me to look for. I'm not gonna click it until you tell me what stat you're looking for. I'm just curious. You first. Can't use irrigation as moat then? Yeah, no, irrigation is shallow water, not deep water. Right? I don't know if you can, like, change or edit deep water at all. Shallow water, yes. Deep water, I don't know. Yeah, which is why I'm asking. Not that I don't trust you, Chocobo. It's just I don't trust you. Let's do that. Did I actually have that one? Oh. But I do actually have plenty of food in stock. Always have a couple hundred more food than we've needed. Been fine. Consistently. But this was like the first year that I really like amped up stock for a lot of things. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know. If you don't have food stocked up and you don't have food available, their moods tank. Speaking of, actually. Speaking of food, I have some research to spend on things. Real curious to see what food supplies look like by the end of this season. Because this was the first season after I finished with these, right? These real big fields. So, we'll see. It's also the first season that I've made a second eatery, tripled the size of my stockpiles, and I guess I should make a new tavern soon. But I need more alcohol for that, which means I need more grain. But yeah, no, the thing is, and the reason I'm very hesitant to show you, Chocobo, is every single time I show you anything, you're like, this is one small thing you're doing wrong. And I don't want you to tell me that, because I know you're going to do it. I don't want you to, because I like to figure out what I'm doing wrong and then fix it myself. That's a satisfying learning loop. But you have a tendency of just being like, point at this, that's wrong. And while I understand you just want to help, it's not a fun thing for me to do. So that's why I'm being hesitant, because I'm expecting you to then be like, this is wrong. And it's like, well, thanks for letting me learn that on my own time. Cheers. So, just would really rather you didn't do that. And I have zero faith in you to not do that. So, because you've consistently done it every single time I've shown you anything that you've asked for. What language is she singing in? Does anybody know? Like, it only just dawned on me that she's singing in not like a language I recognize. It sounds very Witcher-y. The first time I played this, I got a lot of comments, especially on YouTube, about this music sounds like it's straight out of The Witcher. But I don't think it is. What, like Gaelic? Aurelian? It could be a folk song. That's definitely possible. Northern European? I mean, it kind of has that sound to it too. I don't know. It could be. It's one of those. It's like it could be like 50 things, and I can't place it, which is why I'm wondering if anybody here knows what language it is. Because if somebody's like, "Oh, that's Swedish," then I'd be like, "Okay, neat, thanks." But I do appreciate your interest in helping, Chocobo. I just don't trust you. Because of the tone changes? My hope is that it's some weird made-up language. But that's always my hope whenever I'm playing a video game like this. My hope is always that it's some, like, strange made-up language. Next time she sings, I'll crank it up. Yeah, no, CD Projekt Red is very Polish. CD Projekt Red, or however the fuck you're supposed to say it. It is pronounced like Projekt, not project, but... Allegedly. Unless my Polish friend is trolling me, which is possible. They specialize in folk, so God knows. Hey. Yeah, I mean, I listened to a black metal artist named Soar, S-O-A-R, sometimes, and I own one of his albums on LP, and he sings in Gaelic half the time. So it's like you're like kind of craning to like hear the lyrics as it's black metal, and you're like, what the fuck is he saying? I can't tell. And then it's like, oh, this is actually just like absolute garbledygunk that nobody understands. Gotcha. It's like, right, okay. I understand now. What was the percent of workload? See, now that is a stat I know. And I know that they're overworked. Well aware that they are. But I'm also trying to push the population up. The thing is, I don't like the way that you explain to me how I'm doing things wrong, Chocobo. Like, I like you. You're a good person. But it's just every single time I show you anything in the game, you're just like, actually this. And that's what ruined Factorio for me. That's what ruined factory games for me. And I don't want you to ruin this game for me. So, because like I'm aware, like probably the majority of what I'm doing in this is suboptimal and not proper. But I don't care. And I don't want to know if I'm doing it wrong, because that will ruin it for me, because I'm enjoying learning piece by piece by piece by piece by piece. And that's how I play games. And so I'm just kind of worried that I'm going to have to tell you to shut up constantly. You only gave me one tip. Yep, and that's why I don't trust you. That's all you gotta do. It's actually like, I don't know. It's like something is wrong with me. It's not you, it's me. I am a broken person. There we go. Well, they have a spot to chill while they work on the wall. Ration maker's being slow as fuck because I need more potteries, but that's because I actually got to crank those mines back up. And if I crank these mines back up, then, well, I should have problems. So can't do that just yet. Be fine. I actually need another mine. Something that I got to do. Is that just like surface boulders? What the fuck is that? Guess it's just surface boulders. Yeah, it's just surface boulders. Those just look weird compared to the rest of the game. You frequently say that Slavic, but you should say Eastern European more often because the Central European Slavic languages sound almost unrecognizable to you, Anton. Interesting. I mean, I can recognize Polish. If I hear like a vocalist singing in Polish, I can like generally figure it out. Couldn't tell you the difference between all of the various Russian-ish languages. They just kind of all sound like Russian to me.
Not anymore.
Hey, cutest. How's things? And then you go into the weird ones like Hungarian and Finnish. Yeah, well, Finnish, as Bellinaire describes it, just sounds like a bunch of drunk people get locked indoors for half of the year once a year. And then they just decided to steal all of the vowels from every other country and make a language out of it. So, cutest, I can talk about this again now that you're here. I watched The Wrong Dune last night. I linked it on Discord, but I didn't even watch a film adaptation of Dune. I watched The Wrong Dune. That's the only way I can describe it, but it was fascinating. A documentary about a version of Dune that never got made. I watched this, which I will link. That. Also, allegedly, Halo Infinite's campaign is now out. Allegedly. I'm gonna need to play that off stream. Wrong Dune. Yes, I watched The Wrong Dune. Although I would say that they're all the wrong Dune, but that's just me. I don't believe there should be any film adaptations of Dune. I believe that the only way to correctly do Dune in a film format would be like an 18-part TV series with 1-hour episodes. Yeah, I just kind of sat down and watched that last night. It was fascinating. I now have Shudder, so if there's anything good on Shudder that I should watch, let me know. Hey, look, a trader. Look at these guys. A trader. Okay, someone needs to make a good Dune TV series. How's that? That too specific for you? It captures what you imagine. I've heard that the most recent Dune film does a decent job describing the visuals of Dune, or displaying the visuals of Dune. I don't want to see it because it's gonna have a sequel, and I'll watch it once the part 2 and 3 are out. I was very excited to watch the current Dune. I'd be lying if I said otherwise. I was very excited to watch it, and then I found out that it was a multi-parter, and I was like, instantly stopped caring. All right, I need to tell them to collect a lot of surface boulders, so let's do that. Clear rock. But I've just because I, didn't see the main one doesn't mean I still don't want to watch Dune. And, I've seen the other film adaptation of Dune from a bajillion years ago, and then I realized that documentary was on Shudder, and I was like, well, I wanted Shudder for a while, so I just went and grabbed a Shudder subscription, and because I can get 30 days for free as long as I remember to cancel it. Like I said, food is going to recover this year because I built these 9 huge fields. They're not even done, clearing them yet. They're still bringing the food inside. I should probably make transporters up here, actually. It's kind of the plan. But, yes, we have a lot of food now. We have 3,400 food in storage. Yeah, did those houses ever get finished? No, they're still working on them. The problem is right now I have more work than people. Which just means we need immigrants. Which is fine. We're getting there. You ever look through titles in the Steam library and wonder how you came to own them? No, because I know how I came to own them, and it's because somebody gave me key for it. If I accepted every game I got key for on Steam, Frogfire, I would gain probably about 3 or 4 Steam games a day. So, usually if there's a game in my library, because when I started streaming, right, I owned about 100 games on Steam, and that was back in 2013. I now own 721. And I paid for maybe a third of those. I've been raided twice, but I paid them off because I didn't have any military at the time. So I haven't actually fought with anything yet. But I'm finally no longer in debt, actually, which is actually neat. I'm finally no longer in debt. I was in debt up until, very recently, which means I can start importing metal again, which is significantly more expensive, and import more of it. I mean, that's like saying the 3 highest rated programs to ever be broadcast on one of the worst channels on television, but okay. I mean, just remember the Sci-Fi Channel, perhaps that Dune series is good, but also that the Sci-Fi Channel is, most known for Sharknado. So I wouldn't, they're the Star Trek reruns channel. The Sci-Fi Channel is not exactly, great. Dude, I've been meaning to rewatch Stargate SG-1. Stargate SG-1 was a show that I never saw in its entirety because I always saw bits and pieces of it. And I need to watch more of that show. That show was good. But they were having trouble coming up with new stories and funding. Yeah, no, Stargate's a neat channel, but I would be inclined to agree with you, Aurelian. I would indeed be inclined to agree with you. Although I won't agree with you until I see the final season in its entirety. If they stick the landing and they end it well, I would be inclined to agree with you that it is the best hard sci-fi series ever made, but not the best sci-fi series. But it's definitely the best current sci-fi series. Far and away. No questions asked there. Although, part of the reason I got Shudder, the Shudder subscription, for the month is because I want to see Blood Machines, which is a sci-fi series I've been meaning to watch. I don't know if you've ever heard of Blood Machines, but it's just like, I know the basic pitch of it, and I know that Carpenter Brute did the soundtrack, but it's basically like aliens came to Earth, and they fly in these weird flesh ships, but they can go faster than light. And it's flesh ships. It's like body horror spaceships. And it looks neat. Got neat visuals. Might be fun after some weed. And if you watch Stargate SG-1 or Stargate Atlantis, there's whenever there's combat in those shows, there's one guy that always gets blown up. I know that guy. He was a regular at my McDonald's. If you've seen Stargate, you've seen one of my regulars. He would come in for coffee every day, and he had no teeth because of how many times he'd been in hospital. He'd had multiple back surgeries, had his back broken in several places from various accidents on set, and kept going back. It was his full-time gig for about 15 years. Just dying on Stargate. Poor guy. From what I gather, he's a career stuntman and he loved it. But you know, you only need one injury to lose all your teeth, right? You only need one injury to break your back. He was a nice enough dude. He repairs guitars now. He's been retired for a while. I generally, when there's remakes of sci-fi series, I live in a lot of fear of them too. Like, you know, earlier we were talking about Cowboy Bebop. On topic of things that shouldn't have been made. You approve only one injury is enough? Yep. Yep. If you're going to make a living dying in a series, Stargate is a pretty good one to keep trying. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's a pretty good series to be an extra on. He was also an extra on Smallville, or a stuntman that died a lot on Smallville. He was always a random goon that got killed. I also feel like I need more wood because of where they're getting wood from, so I clear some trees. Cool, that's almost done. I actually got done way faster than I thought it would. Live action Cowboy Bebop. Yep. It's on Netflix. You can go watch it if you want. My favorite quote about it is the live action Cowboy Bebop is a pretty alright kind of schlocky sci-fi-ish TV show that has absolutely nothing to do with Cowboy Bebop. That's my favorite description of it that I've seen. You'd rather not? Yeah, same. For whatever development means. Wait, what? Hold up. Oh, the remake of Babylon 5, yeah. I've heard from multiple places that there is a alleged remake of Babylon 5 that is allegedly happening. I've heard that from multiple places, so I don't doubt it. I'll put it that way. I don't doubt it. Based on Hollywood's need to just remake shit that doesn't need to be remade. Makes bred animals faster. Need 225. Speaking of things that are unbelievable, chat, investments are open. Why would someone need a remake of Babylon 5? Why would people need to keep remaking Dune? Why do you need to remake anything? There's only one reason. Money. If they think someone will buy it, they'll remake it. Which means we just need to keep bitching, and eventually someone will remake Firefly. Even though I do genuinely believe that Firefly is not as good as some people think it is. Rip, what killed you? Cold exposure. Well, sucks to be you, I guess. You almost made it to the fire pit. Why do you think they keep making Star Wars movies? It's because people are dumb enough to see them. Gah! It's like, once you think about it for a little bit, it starts to make a lot of sense. You know what's funny is I actually didn't think Spaceballs was that funny. There was a few good scenes with Dark Helmet, and then like the rest of that movie was kind of just meh. You've really enjoyed film from Russia and China and Korea? There's some pretty good Chinese science fiction, actually. I can't remember the name of this one movie that I watched on Netflix, but it was like, I watched this movie about these guys like trying to get around the edge of a black hole on Netflix, and it came from China. No idea what half the movie was about because I was very stoned and subtitles are hard. But like, that was an entertaining movie visually. Holy shit! I would actually watch a live action Samurai Champloo. Not gonna lie, I would actually watch that. Because that would probably be a very fun film to watch. Also, I would probably buy the soundtrack for Samurai Champloo if I had the opportunity. I'd probably buy that. I'd probably do that. Fan base won't accept it. So what you're saying is the fan base is intelligent. And you had no idea the franchise existed? I'm happy for you. If you really enjoyed the new Dune, actually, and this comes from somebody who hasn't seen it but is a big fan of the director, you should watch The Arrival. If you've never heard of The Arrival, I would recommend The Arrival. Watch The Arrival, holy shit. Arrival is wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. In general, it's like, if you like weirdly cool looking science fiction movies, there are 3 that I will just kind of flat recommend. Annihilation, The Arrival, and Ex Machina. Watch those 3 movies. Those are 3 movies that not enough people have seen. Ex Machina is so slow, but it's so fucking good, though. Actually, I didn't think that movie was slow, but then again, I like slow movies. I really, really, really like slow movies. Although Ex Machina is my favorite movie to watch other people watch on a plane, because Ex Machina has that scene at the end where the thing happens and then the stuff happens and then all of those things happen. And when that happens at the end of that movie, people just go beat fucking red, and it's very funny to see on an airplane. It's like, oh, that person's watching Ex Machina. Okay, look over in about an hour and a half because it's gonna be a real funny look on their face. And that is a fucking crime, Frog, for hire, that you got 2 copies of Annihilation on Blu-ray and disc, and they both were broken when they arrived. That is horrible. What the fuck? Firefly got cringy when they introduced the barely dressed lightweight girl becomes a killing machine trope. Resident Evil shit itself and shot itself in the foot with the same bullet. As somebody who loves the Resident Evil movies, even though I acknowledge that they are horrendously terrible, I agree. I love the Resident Evil movies. Those movies are awful, but I love them. I love slow movies. Anton, like I love movies with glacial pacing. So just keep in mind, if I recommend a film, it might be slow. Won't tell me anything about it. It's wonderful. When did this come out? What's up? Googling coherence. 2013 film. Have I seen this before? I've seen this cover before. Woo! I can watch it. It's on Sci-Fi Thriller. It's an hour and a half. Okay, yeah, I could watch that. Whenever I see a movie that's like under 2 hours, it's like, wow, it's so short. It's on Prime, so I can add that to the watch list. Do not read the plot? Then why did you link the wiki page? You're just like, here's the thing to read. Don't read it. So just link the place where you can watch it, like Amazon Prime or Netflix or whoever has it. Link directly to the movie, because you can do that. Have you ever seen have you ever seen? I swear that I think that this is the name of this movie. Have you ever seen the movie Zombie Strippers? I'm pretty sure it's called Zombie Strippers, or maybe it's Vampire Zombie Strippers. Hold on, let me look this up. Yeah, Zombie Strippers. That's the name of the movie. God, I haven't seen this in a very long time. Came out in 2008, so probably around then was when I saw it. Yeah, that's a movie. Which I have seen. If you want stupid stuff. The space feudal time movies, there's not enough of that. There's not enough of that. But yeah, no, the thing about space feudalism, Dune invented space feudalism. Like the book, Dune, that is, like, Dune is Game of Thrones in space. That is Dune. But like the sci-fi franchise that I would kill somebody for, that I would love to get a good movie for, that I never will get a good movie for, is BattleTech. Because BattleTech is literally that. Like, BattleTech would be incredible, but they would destroy it. I would not trust anybody to make a BattleTech movie. Nobody. Nobody could do it. No one would do it justice. Everybody would destroy it. There's no fucking way in hell. There's a lot of movies from that era, from the 1940s and 30s that are really fucking neat. Also, linking a thing in my chat's not going to help me watch it. You got to post it somewhere where I know to watch it. Do I need to make a movie recommendations channel on Discord alongside of the documentaries recommendations? Because we have that documentaries channel on Discord now. Do we also need a movies channel? Probably, yeah. High failing. I'm blind. All right, adding a new random text channel. Movies. It's going right beneath documentaries. There you go. We now have a movies channel. Please insert movies in there. Also, TV series can be linked in there. I've seen Possessor. I've seen that movie. Another movie I won't say a word about. But yes, there's... I've heard nothing but horrendously bad things about Foundation. Frog for Hire, for whatever that's worth. Legit, I've heard nothing but horrendously bad things about it. So I probably will never watch that, and we'll just pretend it doesn't exist, like most things. Food stock's going down, so is happiness. That's fine. Don't watch it if you know what it's about. Wait, what? On Blu-ray, this is 1981's Possession. I don't own a single movie on any platform, in any format. It was actually kind of weird for me. You'd think I'd be the sort of person who would own movies, but don't. What is this game about? This is a game about building a really big city of people. This is the map we're building. And all those little dots are individual peoples. If I zoom in, you can see our farming fields, little people running around. Population currently is 804. It's more of a city builder than like a Dwarf Fortress-y thing. But it's on Steam, and it's been around for a little bit. And it's one of those games that I kind of just check in with whenever there's a major update. But like, even though this is the map where you can build, and that's our city right now. The final unlock hits when you hit 12,000 people, which is right there, 12,000. But if I back out to the world map, the reason this game's actually cool is this is us. The world's actively being simulated. Clouds actually cause storms when they hit you. As you can see, there's rain coming towards us. These are actual caravans moving around in the world. So, yeah, neat. It is a cool game. And if you're curious about trying it, because it's a little weird in places, there is a demo on Steam. I think there's also a demo on itch, but it's on every platform. It's on Steam, it's on itch, it's on Good Old Games. I don't think it's on Epic, but available for sale almost anywhere, has overwhelmingly positive reviews. It's one of those games where it's like, it's weird in a lot of ways, but weird in a lot of good ways. Also, I need to turn my clay pits back on. I don't want to, but I actually need clay, so. Any good horror movie recommendations? Last horror movie I watched was The Thing. Like John Carpenter's The Thing, like the original The Thing. Movie's still good, god damn it. What horror movies have I watched recently? I watched Cam. I don't know if I'd recommend that movie, but it was neat. I watched Cam pretty recently, and after I finished watching Cam, I literally like sat on my computer for 2 hours and like read theories about what the fuck the ending of that movie was, because the ending of that movie is strange. Not in a bad way though. I have never heard of that movie, so probably just where you're at, Anton. Never heard of it. Hey, Cussler. Ruins everything cool about psychohistory. I mean, yeah, I know very little about Foundation, but like the series, I just know that, or rather the book series, but I just know that the show was allegedly bad. Should really make our workers outpost out here, actually. Probably speed things up. It's just not Foundation. You could say that about a lot of shows, man. Say that about a lot of shows. Can I just build this across this? I'm assuming eventually I can, because each time it extends it a little bit. It brings people into the fold. I mean, it's the same reason I'm not, like, you know, nonstop talking smack about Dune. I'm so happy that a lot of people have found out about Dune. Even though I really vehemently disagree with the way they are making that movie. I'm very happy that it exists. And I'll watch it eventually. With a larger population. And combat that is not too dissimilar from Total War, where you designate large-scale formations and have thousands of units on thousands of units. The best show you ever watched is Dark. Absolutely amazing. I want to watch Dark. I desperately do. But it's in German. And I have tried watching it a couple of times, and I've made it through a couple of episodes, but the subtitles are... There's a lot of points in that show where there's multiple people talking. So there's a lot of subtitles. Multiple subtitles at a time, often. And it makes it difficult. So as a visually impaired person, that show is hard to watch. And they do have a dub, so you can watch it in English. But I'm just gonna say pretty bluntly, no. But they don't have the type of dub that I like. I like English dubs for shows, actually. I will watch like documentaries in English. I like English voiceover, but I don't like English dub. So if they dub over the actors and erase the original voice track and the miles don't meet up, I hate that. But I'm okay with watching described video, which they don't have for that show on Netflix, which bothers the crap out of me. Where you still hear the original voices in the background, but there's just an English voice over top of it, which they don't have for that show on Netflix, which makes me really sad. You just made me never want to watch the Dune movie. You not only just, like, ruined that movie for me, but you made me not want to watch it because I can't stand that dude. I can't stand him. Holy shit. Well, that sucks. I wish I didn't know that he did the music for that movie. I can't stand him. I do not like that guy. I wish I didn't know that the music was done by him. I'm so sad. I need to look up to make sure that that's true, because if that's true, I'm really, really sad. He just bothers the crap out of me. There's no other way to explain it than that. Who did the music for the most recent Doom film? I need to look this up. And I need to know that you're wrong. Or rather, I'm hoping that you're... Yeah, it's Hans Zimmer. Why are you stating that Clayton did the music? I'm so confused. Well, I mean, Hans Zimmer makes sounds, and that's all. I must have just misread something. Why are you saying that? Oh, you were saying that you would prefer it was Clayton who did the soundtrack. Oh, well, why would you want Clayton to do a soundtrack? Get a good musician. What? Like, the fuck? Sorry, but Clayton's terrible. Like, even as far as synthwave artists go, he's just, ugh. Alright. Oh, working. So you can build walls across rivers, it just takes years. I guess that's accurate to reality. I mean, Lynch is a artist. He makes weird fucking movies, and he's a weird fucking person. Weird people make weird movies. I like Lynch's Dune. It's not a good movie, but I like it. But then again, I like it for the same reason that I like films like Mandy. It's not a good movie, but I like it. It flows underneath, air quotes. Same as this. Because you can irrigate water, but it doesn't have physics. The reason this game can have so much stuff going on is because it's all fake. None of it actually has physics. Like, I can irrigate all of this, but it's not like it floods and flows. Same like this. Like, this used to just be a little lake, right? Which I've just been, like, completely contorting to my will. I mean, hasn't Lynch, like, stated on multiple occasions that he didn't make that movie, the producers made that movie? I'm pretty sure, like, he's said that, hasn't he? I'm not making that up, am I? Hey, I've got 100 of these dudes now. I'm gonna make another squad. Or figure out how to make another squad. Alright, now that that's all done, oopsies, I'm going to make another one of these. Room copier. Got another death, but we're still holding up. We're holding up to good numbers. Food stocks are better too. Block stocks are getting better. We've actually got some clothes in stock, which is also like shocking. So, doing well. You'll remember it whether you like it or not. What, Lynch's Dune? Yeah. Yeah, I've heard varying versions of that story, Anton. I've never really looked into it too much. It just always kind of seems like a bit of a shame to me. I've just always kind of assumed that it was just like another one of those stories where it's just like, yep, the studio stole it from him. Totally. Like, I'm sure that there's plenty to love in the new one. I have a pet peeve, and just so, because I haven't actually stated it today, the reason I haven't seen the new Dune is because I don't like watching part ones. It's like my biggest pet peeve about like Hollywood these days is everything is a part one that will have a sequel. And if Dune 2021 came out in like 2016, I would have seen it already because I wasn't burnt out on that style of movie yet. But I'm so exhausted with that style of movie now. I'm just going to wait until at least part 2 is out. Maybe even wait until part 3 is announced and not out yet, and then I'll go see it. Yeah, no, exactly. No, the literal second I heard, "Yay, Dune is getting a part 2," in my chat, I was like, "Well, I don't want to see that movie anymore." Which actually, I'm very happy that it didn't come out in Canada until a month after the rest of the world, because I got to hear that from the rest of the world early. So because it's like, because it's a part 1, it's like, yeah, okay, I can just, wait now because I know now, rather than having to be disappointed in a theater, because I would have like been excessively angry if I saw that movie in theater. I mean, I've been saying that for years, Magic. It's like the second I heard that they were making a new Dune, I was like, that shouldn't be a movie. That should be like a 10 to 15 part series. Like maybe even a 25 part series. Like that should be like a 2 seasons of like a high budget series. Like it shouldn't be a movie. And I've been of that opinion for a long time. But it doesn't matter. Holy fuck, I am number 4. I haven't thought about that in a minute. I actually saw that movie. Jesus Christ, that was a terrible movie. I also read the book because somebody gave it to me for Christmas one year. Ugh. Sorry, you just like awoke a memory in my brain that I didn't realize I still had. Good God, I am number 4. Fuck me. Fuck me. You watched a pre-release showing in the theater? I assume you enjoyed it based on what you've been saying, so that's good. It's hard to respond to that without spoiling anything in the movie, so you won't say it, but you didn't know that it was a part 1 when... As far as to say that you didn't know that it was a part 1 when you walked in. They never advertised it as a part 1 because part 2 and 3 were not confirmed until after the movie was successful, right? So the reason they didn't tell anybody it was a part 1 until afterwards is because they, like... It's not a guarantee that you're going to get the rest of it's not guaranteed that you're going to get a franchise, right? Sure. Rock Fryer. Sure. We'll say that. I donated that book to the used things store, so hopefully they were able to sell it before people realized how terrible that series was. I mean, I might just go get lunch, Magic. I've never actually seen The Golden Compass as well, but I've heard that that movie has some pretty cool effects in it. I've heard that. I don't know how true that is. Ah, that's the reason. Donk. It's like, why is my clay pot stuff not getting finished? Oh, it's because I have no clay pots. Well, that answers that question. It's not some Flash and Star Wars laser, which you love? Absolutely no. Like, I've heard a lot of good things about Dune, and I will see Dune once Part 2 is out, potentially once Part 3 is out. Yeah, we've been talking about it, Twitch Ups. I've heard that it exists, I've never seen it. It's not really watchable out here. You know, one science, I guess this counts as a science, I don't know if this counts as science fiction. One fiction movie that I will go see another one of if and when they make another one of it is Mad Max Fury Road. That was a fucking incredible movie. You know, it's actually kind of funny because I've had some people ask me recently now that because like, you know, I'm a fucking content creator, influencer piece of shit, right? So I get random ass questions from people, and one that I got kind of a lot since 2020 happened is, what's your favorite movie of the last 10 years, right? Like, what's your favorite movie of the last 10 years? And the only one that I keep coming back to is Mad Max Fury Road. It's like, it's a pretty fucking close tie between Annihilation and Mad Max Fury Road. It's like, The Arrival was great. Like, The Arrival's top 5, but I think it's Mad Max Fury Road. Like, I'm pretty fucking certain for me, like, my favorite movie to come out in the last 10 years was Fury Road. Like, there's nothing I don't like about that movie. Everything I like about that movie is unique to that movie. Nothing else has done that well, in my opinion. It's like, there's something, it's like, to me, Mad Max Fury Road seems like an absolutely manic, insane person finally bullied like a film company to let him make his dream movie, and he did it. And it's just like, there's no way in hell that movie should exist and be as good as it is. But somehow it is. You still haven't seen Annihilation? I tell people to see Annihilation for one reason, and that's, I've seen Annihilation twice, and I haven't seen it in a couple of years. I last watched it, I think, at the beginning of 2020, or maybe the end of 2019. It was around Christmas 2019. I still think about that movie frequently, just because of how it questions the concept of self. And that's all I'll say about that movie. Mad Max, it's just constantly something happening. Mad Max Fury Road is also the only movie I've ever seen that features a monster truck with a dude on the back of it with a flamethrower metal guitar just playing solos the entirety of the movie. And you can hear him playing the entire film. It's incredible. The entire movie, you can just hear just off in the background. You just hear him playing every single time. Also, that movie damn near gave me an anxiety attack because of the music. The music in that movie is just mwah. I don't know actually who did the soundtrack. I should probably look that up. That one guy should get a movie about him? Yeah, basically. But yeah, they are making another one. It's called Mad Max The Wasteland, which will come out eventually. Yeah, Junkie XL did the soundtrack for it. Tom Hulkenberg did the music. which he's also done. This is gonna sound random. He's did the soundtrack for the original Forza Motorsport, The Sims 2 Nightlife, The Sims 3, Need for Speed Underground. He's in Need for Speed Carbon. He did the FIFA '08 soundtrack allegedly. The fucking soundtrack for Darkspore. Yeah, this is a weird rabbit hole to fall into. I need to close this. Yeah, because they're all practical. They built all of those vehicles. That's the best part about Mad Max, is all of those vehicles are real. They built them. That's why that movie is so good, is because it's all practical effects. I think that Mad Max actually had extremely smart breaks in the action, and that's what makes them so good. It's all action with the only most necessary parts of the world building inserted with surgical precision. Yes, absolutely. One of my favorite quotes about the production of that movie is apparently Tom Hardy was a absolute pain in the ass to work with, because he kept on like questioning everything that George Miller was doing. And then after he saw it, when he watched the movie, he like apparently went up to George Miller and apologized. Because he's just like, he's like, you're a genius. I didn't understand what you were trying to do, but you are an absolute genius. I think I need to make a bigger pottery thing. That, or I need to import pottery. I might just import some pottery. Follows you since your teens? Yeah, no. It's a good soundtrack. Junkie XL does good shit. Just speed this up a wee bit. But just remember, chat, George Miller, right? Directed Mad Max, Fury Road, and the other Mad Max movies. Also brought you Happy Feet. Just remember that. Mad Max, Fury Road, Happy Feet, same guy. Same guy. My favorite thing to remind people about whenever I talk about Mad Max. It's like, Mad Max Fury Road, yeah, that fucking masterpiece of a movie. Happy Feet, same guy. I don't know why I find that so funny, but I do. Oh, it's all good, Stone. You do what you gotta do. So we're going to build this wall down to about here and then kind of loop back around across here and then go back to this way. Even gods have to take a shit? I think he had kids. Because he's married and he has kids. So that's... And that Happy Feet 1 kind of came out around the time his kid was about 6. So it checks out. Like, it checks out. The Neotongue the boys use from the desperation of the world. In fact, everything is made from parts of other things. And you end up loving the war boy with the 2 tumors on his neck. Yeah, no, the war boy. The war boy who is the same actor who was in Skins. But yeah, the dude with all the tumors on his neck who's just like desperately trying to kill him. Like, Mad Max doesn't have any good guys or bad guys. It just has characters, and they're all entertaining. Doesn't matter what side they're fighting for. They're all just characters. And they're all interesting and intriguing in their own way, even though they barely speak. Did you draw something, Stone? Was that what came out well? You ever finished that other eatery? Just working on the pottery. Although importing pottery seems to be helping. I tend to agree, Twitch ups. I like how this is just kind of turned into a let's gush about Mad Max Fury Road this stream. When did I become a movie podcast? Hey, kind of a neat little thing. Not particularly major or anything, but I hit 8,600 subs. I've been hovering right below 600 for a while. I can't wait to say that it's over 9,000. I was kind of aiming for 10,000 subs this year, but I'm not going to hit it. So now I'm just trying to hit 1 million views by the end of the year. How many views do I have on my YouTube channel so far this year? Let's see. In 2021, 925,000 views. 2020, we did 600,000, so. 925,000. Let's hit 1 million. What, Mad Max and shit? I mean, Mad Max is just, it's just unique. There's really nothing else quite like Mad Max, and that's why I like Mad Max. Because there's really quite nothing else. Really quite nothing like Mad Max. That's what I need. We just need to be smelting more stuff. Because I have all of the stuff there. It's just a matter of smelting it more. Yes, this is true. Twitch ups. You can't have nuclear or chemical end war without some weird body horror shit going on. Why body horror exists though? It's like a warning. I need 77 more people to be able to actually get all these jobs done. Although our crime rates have dropped, so that's good. General happiness has gone up. We have lots of goods in trade, and our treasury is... Well, that sped up for a little bit. Slowed down again. Perhaps we're getting to a point where I actually need to get slaves. Also, meat production is actually functioning a little bit now that I have more of these. Congrats, cutest ghost used to be rich. Chat, can I get a round of beers? Look at how dirty things are. Things are pretty dirty. I mean, I guess you'd have to be into Kung Fu movies, and I'm not super into Kung Fu movies. But I'm familiar with Fist of the North Star, and that's all I really have to say about Fist of the North Star. And I'm also going to dig some canals out here. That's the wrong tool. Wait, what? Water table is too low. Oh, that's interesting. I can't dig more canals. I need to start removing water. That's interesting. And then now, once I do that, I'm assuming I can adjust the shape of this. Interesting. I just learned a mechanic in this game. You can only dig so many canals before the water table gets fucked up. Then you have to reshape the creeks entirely. That's really interesting. It's not a serious, like the game doesn't get mad at you or anything from losing your voice, apparently. The game doesn't get mad at you or penalize you from doing that, but you can, which is interesting. Also, we actually have guards now, which are armed, I think. Has some armor. Not a large amount of armor, but has some armor. Okay, yeah, that's super cool. Flavor. I have like nothing in my treasury and I don't really feel like going into debt. But I could just buy like 200 slaves. But then I'd owe people. Oh, happiness is dropping. It's fine. I don't know. For me, the reason I find Mad Max entertaining is it's post-apocalypse, cool, weird vehicles, and crazy mutants. That's why Mad Max is exciting. And the vehicles and the heavy metal and the flamethrowers are half of why it's fun to me. So if you remove that, it's a lot of the fun kind of goes away with that. Do you guys think that this is a neat terraforming system? Because this is, like, fascinating to me. It's that you have to maintain, like, a level water table. I really hope at some point this game implements floods. Because that would be really cool. I like games that have a decent simulation of floods and flooding land. One of my favorite things. And we're actually getting to a point now where we have large amounts of metal. Am I playing Netherlands or something? Kind of. Netherlands Simulator. I mean, I feel like the part of this game's end game sort of is like just making the map look exactly the way you want it, right? Because I want to have, like, water running around the outside of my entire base. All right, chat. I think it might be lunchtime. What do you guys think? I think it might be lunchtime. I'm getting a little hungry. Need some food in me. Same end game as Animal Crossing Horizons. You know, Animal Crossing Horizons, that's a game that makes me super... I can't even watch streams of it. It makes me so motion sick. Like, I don't understand how people watch Animal Crossing or play Animal Crossing because, like, the way the world moves makes me want to throw up. Like, that's the only way I can describe it. It makes me want to throw up. Pretty toxic, feels bad. Pretty toxic, feels bad. I don't think that this chat is capable of being toxic the way I set it up, though. All right. So, chat, lunchtime. I'm gonna go go get me lunch. I'm going to pause the game for the entirety of that. If you want to support the crap that I do directly, here's a link to my Patreon. Annual Patreon stuffs are 20%, or not 20, 12%, 16% off. They're normally 6% off, which means you could get a year of a $2 subscription and be in the credits of my YouTube videos for a whole year for the low price of like $20 if you wanted. Or it's even cheaper than that now. It's closer to 12. Anyway, so there's that. But also, if you want to see all these series, there's a link to the YouTube channel. I'll be back in like 10 minutes, tops, 5 minutes-ish probably. If I could get a round of beers, and if you guys could keep the chat moving, that'd be cool. If not, that's fine. And I will be back in a little bit. BRB. Don't go anywhere too fast unless you really want to.